In today's video, I wanted to provide you all with a comprehensive guide on the best ways to adequately prepare for Nightfalls of higher difficulty, okay? This guide will be able to be applied to all Nightfalls, but I will be placing an emphasis more so on the Legend, Master, and Grandmaster difficulties, all right? It doesn't matter if you're a new player prepping for these activities or somebody that is returning to the game for the 57th time, all right? This guide will be of great use to you. I can almost guarantee that, okay? I'm not a huge fan of wasting time though, so let's go ahead and let's jump right in without further ado, shall we? Now, the first question you may have is, what's a Nightfall? A Nightfall is an in-game activity that will have you going through a variation of one of Bungie's many strike activities at a higher difficulty level. All right, well, what's a strike? Good question. If you don't know what a strike is, think about it as being an extensive mission that'll have you doing numerous objectives in the process, all right? You could be in a fire team up to 3 players in order to work towards completing that particular mission, okay? The difficulty levels of Nightfalls are Hero, Legend, Master, and Grandmaster, all right? And as of the Lightfall DLC, aka Season 20, you can no longer outlevel the recommended activity level. For example, the Hero difficulty level will keep you at -5 the recommended activity power level. The Legend difficulty will keep you at -15 or -15 the recommended power level, okay? The Master will keep you at -20 and the Grandmaster will keep you at -25 each respective recommended power level, all right? Reason being is because Bungie wants the activities to be more difficult overall, especially as you get to the Master and Grandmaster difficulties. Now, one may ask the question, well, Craig, why should I even do a Nightfall? This question is going to piggyback off of my explanation of what Nightfalls are, all right? And the answer to this is simple. It's super simple. Loot. Lots and lots of loot. I mean, if you enjoy fighting incredibly difficult enemies alongside your friends for absolutely no reason in the world, then good for you. But me, I'm fighting through those higher tiered Nightfalls for the rewards, baby. The higher the tier of Nightfall, the more rewards you can find yourself getting from materials like enhancement cores, enhancement prisms, and even ascended shards in the Master and Grandmaster difficulties, to specific Nightfall weapons that exclusively drop on certain weeks and or from certain Nightfalls. These weapons will drop in adept versions in the Grandmaster Nightfalls, which are enhanced versions of the regular ones that drop in Master difficulty and under, all right? Also, the higher the difficulty, the greater the chance that those materials and or weapons will drop. So in a perfect world, it does make sense to try and do Grandmasters, but do know that the other difficulties can get the job done as well. Well, Cray, how do I even prepare for a Nightfall? Great question. So glad you asked. The first thing we want to take care of is our power level, okay? Just because the game caps you at a certain level underneath the recommended level does not mean that you do not need to get to the recommended activity level, all right? You got to get your grind on and you got to make sure you are within range of that recommended level, or at least the level that the game caps you at. Man, I know that sounded totally confusing, and I apologize for that, but that's Bungie's fault for making it so dang on confusing. Anywho, just to give you all an example, right now in Season 20, for a Hero version of a Nightfall, the recommended power level is 1770, okay? That means that the game is going to keep you at 1765 because remember, Heroes are -5 levels under the recommended activity level, okay? With this being said, you want to make sure that you are at least 1765 before attempting a Hero difficulty Nightfall. Simple as that, all right? Now, some people love a good challenge and they will attempt the Nightfall at a lesser power level, but for a beginner, I would not recommend it because it can lead to some serious frustration as you are learning the game, all right? If you are a returning player and you enjoy the extra difficulty of being under level for a Nightfall, then have at it, my friend. By all means, have at it. Now, when it comes to actually increasing your power level, you can simply do this by just playing the game. No, seriously. If you just play the game, then you should casually reach the soft cap, and as you do things like complete bounties and explore seasonal activities, missions, and things of that nature, your light level will increase, all right? As of Season 20, the soft cap is 1750, the hard cap is 1800, and the pinnacle cap is 1810, all right? Again, you'll get the soft cap just by playing the game, completing missions, running playlists, and just getting as many random drops as possible, all right? Once you hit that soft cap, you will now want to start working towards acquiring tiers 1, 2, 3, and or pinnacle engram drops, which you can acquire by completing a certain amount of bounties from a particular vendor or completing a certain activity a number of times, all right? If you ever want to see where you can acquire these tiered powerful engrams, then open up your map, hover over the vendors and or missions, and if it's a mission that will give you one of those respective drops, then it will have this sun-like icon next to it, and it'll let you know the requirements for acquiring that particular engram, okay? Those engrams are important because they will drop 3 to 5 levels over your current maximal potential gear power level. Yes, mouthful, I know. Based upon which tier of engram it is, obviously. Once you reach the hard cap, which is 1800 right now in season 20, you will only be able to level up to 1810 by completing pinnacle activities and getting the pinnacle engrams to drop for you. So the key takeaway here is to make sure you are at an optimal overall power level. Also, something I failed to mention was that your artifact level actually contributes to your total power level. Yes, there's more. There is more here, all right? Your artifact levels up from acquiring traditional XP, just like in any other game, and you get that from completing seasonal challenges, bounties, and activities, okay? And or activities, I should say. If you have a base gear power level of 1750, for example, and an artifact bonus of 5, then your overall current power level is 1755. And that is what the Nightfall is going to be based off of, okay? Let me know in the comments if this leveling stuff makes sense or if you all would like me to do a further in-depth breakdown on all of this leveling stuff in a separate video. Do not mind it at all. Something else we're going to want to do to make sure we are as prepared as possible for any respective Nightfall is to acquire a variety of weapons to make sure we are prepared for whichever Nightfall we do encounter, all right? Do know that the Nightfall is on a weekly rotator, so whichever one it is, it will stay like that for the week. Modifiers included, okay? I always teach people to have a weapon readily available for ad control, aka something that can kill a lot of those red health bar enemies quickly, and some gold bars before you become overwhelmed. Once upon a time, this used to be limited to heavy weapons like rocket launchers, certain LMGs, swords, things of that nature. But now with a diverse array of perks that can synergize with abilities, there are plenty of weapons like trace rifles, shotguns, fusion rifles, and in some cases, primary weapons that can get the job done, okay? Just make sure whatever you're rocking, it has the ability to destroy a higher number of enemies in a short-ish time frame. Now, personally, I've been loving using wave frame grenade launchers like Explosive Personality with auto-loading holster to be able to kill a few ads before switching back to my primary weapon and then just rinsing and repeating that cycle. Also, as of recent, I have been getting more into fusion rifles, especially the Royal Executioner fusion rifle from this current season, season 20. I have a role right now with Incandescent that can spread Scorch to other enemies and make enemies explode and burn one another, and it's super clutch. Super de-duper clutch. It is nice to clean up any fools that have gotten a little too close for comfort. Ultimately, though, it comes down to a bit of preference and what the Nightfall modifiers are giving you to work with. Real quick, if you do not know what a modifier is something that can either make an activity more challenging or it can make it a bit easier on you. For example, surges are something that have been in the game since day one, but they're under a new name now. At the beginning of Lightfall, they changed the name up, but anywho, I digress. So if there's a solar surge, that means your weapons that are solar are going to do more outputting damage, okay? Now, there may be another modifier on there like chaff that completely gets rid of your radar, right? So you cannot see utilizing your radar when enemies are within proximity, all right? So modifiers are always there to shake up the dynamic of that particular Nightfall and or mission. Getting back to weapons here, something else that you do want to have is you want to have a weapon that is solid for DPS, all right? This stands for damage per shot. Some people say it stands for damage per second. Either way, whatever it stands for, totally doesn't matter here. It's totally relative. Anywho, I'm digressing. Just know that this is important for you to be able to do damage on gold bar health enemies and or bosses, all right? Super important to have this situated before loading into a Nightfall of the legend difficulty or higher because your loadout will be locked, all right? And then you will not be able to change weapons or anything of that nature until that activity is completed or left. Again, the options here will vary based off of modifiers and personal preference, but the weapons I see utilized the most right now are linear fusion rifles and rocket launchers, okay? Linears are highly rewarding for precision and can put out a ton of damage, especially when you have perks that line up in order to provide you with the damage boost that you would like. Now for rocket launchers, you know, they shoot rockets. Need I say more? At this time in Season 20, both grenade launchers and LMGs received buffs, so they do have more viability, but personally, I need to see them out in the field a bit more to provide more clarity on that to know if they are a viable option. But feel free to take them and experiment with them at your own discretion. Personally, I absolutely love linear fusion rifles for this particular role. My go-to one is a Type Pan linear fusion rifle. It's a void one that has triple tap and frenzy on it. Both perks are enhanced because I crafted this, and when I hit my precision shots, I can have up to 9 shots before ever even considering to reload, giving me the opportunity to output a ton of damage. Last thing I want to do in this video is I want to give you some things to keep in mind as you prepare and get ready to jump into some Nightfall action, okay? Keeping distance and playing cover will keep you alive, all right? It's as simple as that. Well, in most cases, I will say it's as simple as that. In some cases, you will have to move around often and find yourself in a lot of close quarter combat as a result of this, because if you stay in one place, you will get shot from all angles, or splash damage from the boss or any other aggravating enemies will find its way to you and it will erase you from existence. In majority of cases though, do everything you can to keep distance to some degree so that if you find yourself getting ripped up, you can get behind cover, wait for your shields to regenerate before attempting to lay out damage again, all right? Now, this next thing to keep in mind ties into making sure that you keep your distance a bit, and it is to be patient, all right? I would much rather you take a few extra minutes to complete a part of the mission than rush, die, and have to restart that encounter, all right? So do not get too greedy and try to finish off everything within proximity in one fell swoop. Does not work in Nightfalls, all right? I promise you, and trust me, it is not worth pissing off your teammates that will have to revive you every 2 seconds if they can. Because remember, in Nightfalls, you actually have a revive timer, and in the most cases, they have to wait at least 15 seconds before they pop a res on you. So don't be that person, okay? Last thing I want you all to keep in mind when it comes to Nightfalls is that Nightfalls is where your build crafting skills will shine. Or they won't. And guess what? Guess what though? That is okay. If you have not perfected this skill yet, this will give you an opportunity to perfect this through trial and error, all right? So with that being said, I encourage you to always try to find synergies with armor mods, subclasses, weaponry, and modifiers, all right? Hey, you might surprise yourself, so get out there and play around with some build crafting. And folks, that is going to do it. I hope this guide was of great use to you, and if it was not, I apologize for inconveniencing you. But if it was useful, I would encourage you to subscribe for more educational content and overall Destiny 2 content to come in the near future. Thank you all so much for coming and watching, and yeah, that's a wrap. Mic drop. We out.